Today we're going to be talking about product problems. Now, we talked about these words are an essential word in mathematics, and product is one of them. Product means multiplication. So we're going to practice some multiplication problems that we've done in the past. All right, so we're going to start with this problem, the quantity 3 times 2 times 5. Now, we have looked at arrays before, and also volumes of cubic units in blocks. So we know that we usually do use order of operations, but in this case, we actually can change and turn our blocks or our rectangular boxes to actually have the same amount of cubes, but we could have said instead of 3 times 2, we could have actually done, or let's do 3 times the quantity 2 by 5. And all that would mean is that I'm going to turn this so that I would have a 2 by 5 this way. And then I would have 3 layers of that. So it's still the same amount of blocks or cubic units. The difference is just the way that I positioned it. But these are actually the same. So when I get the products of them, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 5 is equal to 30. This one, 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 3 equals 30. Both of them, obviously, you can get the same answers. It's just one is easier than the other. So if you guys wanted to get to 10 first, I obviously would mix these numbers up. Moving on. The second problem we're going to do is the quantity 18 times 4 times 5. So we just talked about the commutative property of multiplication, that it doesn't matter in what order we multiply these numbers if they're all multiplying. So again, I have 18 times 4, and I don't know how to really do that in my head, but I do know 4 times 5. So I'm going to change my problem to be 18 times the quantity 4 times 5, because I know this. And according to, like I said, that commutative property of multiplication, I can do this. So now I know 18 times this quantity is 20. And this is a lot easier. I actually can save my 0. 2 times 18, which is 18 doubled, 36, and then I put my 0 back. It's 360. That was way easier than if I started with this 18 times 4. When you're working on your problems, remember, look for easier ways to solve them before going on. All right, the next problem we're going to review is 22 times the quantity 6 times 10. Now, many of you have in the class, we also used what was called the area model. So, of course, we know 6 times 10 is 60. But I don't know really off the top of my head 22 times 60. So in the past, or at the beginning of this year, we actually took these numbers and we made an area model. So how that looked was something like this, where we broke this down into maybe 20 plus 2, and this side I can leave 60 because there's no ones. So 20 times 60, which would be this box right here, 20 times 60 equals 12, save the 2 zeros, 1200, and 2 times 60, which would equal 2 times 6 is 12, save that 0, 120, and then taking those answers here and adding them up. So it is 1,320. Again, this is called the area model. So just a reminder, we have talked about this before. I wanted to refresh your memories and do this one problem again. So another strategy that we're going to practice that we haven't done in a while is 5 is half of 10. So the problem I have here is 15 times the quantity 4 times 20. So in order to solve this problem, of course, I can do that this is 15 times 80. Now, there's 2 ways I can break this up. So I know 5 is half of 10. So first of all, I could break this up to 15 is 10 and 5 times 80. So I could do 10 times 80, which I know 10 times 80 equals 800. And then therefore 5 times 80, that's half of this. So if I know that half of 800 equals 400, that would be also 5 times 80. Okay, so obviously if I had 800 and then 5 times 80, or half of that, is 400. 800 plus 400 equals 1200. Okay, hopefully that will be useful to you in the future. All right, now we're going to look at some quotients. So quotient is the answer or result of a division problem. So we haven't done this in a while. If I have 1,500 divided by 100, last week you guys were looking at this when you divide by 10, divide by 100, and what are the results. And what we realized is that when you divide by 10, you move the decimal one spot to the right or to the left. And if you divide obviously by 100, that means that we would move that decimal 2 spots to the left. So here's the decimal, and that would mean 1, 2. So our answer is actually 15. And I can actually just erase those so you can see. So the answer again is 15. So if I had 1,500 divided by 10, that means I'm going to move my decimal spot 1 spot to the left. So that would mean that my answer is 150. All right, for the last problem today, we are going to be doing a multiplication problem string to help us solve for a division problem. So I'm going to start here with 46 times 10. We learned 46 times 10 that when you multiply by 10, it simply moves the decimal spot once to the right. So it means I'm going to have to add a 0, or we can save the 0. So 460. If I want to know 460 times 5, 5 is half of 10, so it should be half of this 460. So half of 460, if I break that down, would actually be 230. So 230. So then, if I do 46 times 15, that would be the 5 and the 10 added together. So it would be 460, which, because that was 10, plus 230, which was for 5, which would give me 690. 690. And then, now that I have 690, and I want to go with 46 times 100. So if I did 46 times 100, it would be 4,600. If I want to know 46 times 50, again, it's up here, 2,300. And then if I wanted to do the problem 2,346 divided by 46, this is how I would do it. So looking up here, I know that if I actually multiply 46 times 50, it's actually 2,300, which is close to this. So I'm going to put 50 groups here. So that would equal 2,300. When I subtract that, I get 46 left. That means I need one more group of 46 to get to 0. So when I divide this number by 46, it actually equals 51. So 2,346 divided by 46 equals 51.